بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداه إلى يوم الدين. The last companion that we have been talking about was Anas radiallahu anhu wa ardah. And tonight inshallah we'll be talking about the admonishing of Anas, because the admonishing of Anas are very important. We're going to be learning inshallah a lot. And we'll start with the first admonishing of Anas radiallahu anhu, and regarding of lowering the gaze. For verily Anas radiallahu anhu, he says, if you met a woman, then close your eyes. If you met a woman, close your eyes until she passes. So this is an admonishing from Anas radiallahu anhu wa ardah to tell us that the woman is a great fitna on the man. For the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, fear the dunya, ittaqu dunya, wa ittaqu nisa, and be on alert regarding the women. For verily the first fitna, the first trial of Banu Israel was regarding the women. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, all the women is to be awrah. All the women is to be awrah. So if she comes out of her house, the shaitan will be on watch for her. Shaitan will be opening her eyes for her. Prophet he said also the shaitan, it takes the face of the woman. The woman, she comes into the image of a shaitan and she leaves in the image of a shaitan. So if any person he had seen a woman, then let him come to his family, for verily that would satisfy him or will settle him down. Meaning the person saw a woman and he did not intend to see her, but he saw something from her. Whatever he had seen from her, then he go to his wife and then make the marital relation, the intercourse. For verily whatever he had seen from that woman, his wife, she's got it. And that is why that the person should not be exposed to the fitna. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had commanded us in Surah An-Nur, verse 30, Allah says, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغُضُّ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, say to the believers, O Prophet of Allah, to lower their gaze and not to look at the awrat, وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ, and to protect their private parts. ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ, this is better for them and more or purification. وَاللَّهُ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ, Allah knows what they were doing. Also, we find that the person, when he lowers his gaze, he will be having khashya from Allah Azza wa Jal. Here we find Al-Qurtubi, he narrates for us a story in his book At-Tadhkirah, where he says that a man who was a mu'adhin, a person who was calling for the adhan, and then suddenly he looked at a woman who's a Christian. So she snatched his heart, and then he wanted to marry her. So she had made a condition upon him to embrace Christianity, and then he had agreed for that, and then he married her and he died upon that. So the person needs to know it is a very dangerous issue. And the Prophet ﷺ, in order to protect us, especially the youth, he said, Ya ma'shar al-shabab, O youth, who is amongst you capable of marrying, that is capable physically or financially, then let him get married. For verily it will lower his gaze and will protect his private parts. And he was not able to do so, then let him fast. For verily it is a protection for him. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he told the companions not to sit in the roads, and he said, and he was being told, Messenger of Allah, we cannot do that, because we have to do something like this. We have to sit down sometimes outside our houses where it is exposed to the roads, so we cannot really avoid that. We have to do it. So the Prophet of Allah, he said, if you want to do it, then make sure that you give the road its rights. From the rights of the road, that the person should not look. He should lower his gaze. So whenever there's a fitna, there's a woman, he should not raise his head or put his eyes onto the fitna. So the this is from the Prophet ﷺ as an admonishing to us. And it is actually very important because it will keep the society, especially in our time, to be intact. And the shaitan has a number of ways of attracting the human being because he's an expert in his war. So the more you find that your heart is gone harder, the more it is that because you did not lower your gaze. The more that you have weakness in your khushu' in salah, the more it is because of those things that you do from the sins. And if you do not talk about this, he will talk about it a lot. Al-Imam al-Junayd rahimahullah, when he was asked regarding what is the way to help the person to keep his sight away from the fitna, he said, verily, if you just know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is faster than you, He will precede you to look at you before you look at the fitna, then you'll be able to use that as a medicine. So remember, before you look at the woman, the look of Allah on you is going to be faster. So that's a great remedy. And he who had done so, that means he had lowered his gaze and he did not look at the women and the fitan, then he will have his heart into relaxation. He will have his heart to be softened, and he will have the khushu' that he is looking for. And he will find himself when he prays that there is a sweetness that he does not really have in anything that he performs. And every time he recites the Quran, there will be sweetness and happiness. And every time that he supplicates to Allah, there will be as well sweetness for that. There's a barakah every time that you follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the commands of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So Ibn Jawzi rahimahullah, he says, know for sure, verily if you are abiding with what Allah commands you, from lowering your gaze, especially on the first look, then you will have been saved from a lot of diseases. But if you had repeated that look time and time again, then there will be something planted in your heart. It will be very hard for you to take it out. When something is planted in your heart from the sin, it is very hard upon you to take it out. So it is important to know that this is really a big fitna, and the person should not be indulging into it. And once you are into that mood that you want to look, just remember this. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be first to look at you before you look at your fitna. And Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he says, if the person lowered his gaze, then from the women and from even the boys who are beautiful looking, because maybe the person is pervert, then this will give you three things. Number one, the sweetness of Iman. The sweetness of Iman. And it is actually much sweeter than the sin that you have abandoned. And he who had left something for the sake of Allah, Allah will compensate him something with better. Second thing is that it will give you the light into your heart. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the people of Lut, لَعَمْرُكَ إِنَّهُمْ لَفِي سَكْرَتِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ in Surah Al-Hijr. And that is verse 72. Verily, those people who are the people of Lut alayhi salam, they were in their sakrah, ya'mahun, they were blind. They were in the drunkenness state. So when you are a person who is abiding yourself with the commands of Allah to lower your gaze, this will make yourself having the basira instead of the basar. So you're lowering your gaze, but Allah will give you the light into your heart. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned lowering the gaze in Surah An-Nur, He followed it again with another verse, which is Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He would recompense the person according to his deed. So if you are lowering your gaze from the maharim, from the things that you're not supposed to look, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would compensate you with something which is in the same way, which is He will give you the basira in your heart. And the basira means the person, he will be able to distinguish between the haqq and the batil, and he will be a person having the criterion to distinguish between the right and the wrong. Also the third benefit, as Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah had said, that your heart will be stronger, and you will be as well having the shaja'ah, which is the braveness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will make you sort of something in your heart to deter you from falling into the haram. So all of that from just lowering the gaze. So this is from the Anas radiallahu anhu admonishing that to lower your gaze. Then we go to the other admonishing of Anas, where he says, radiallahu anhu warḍah, that is to keep away from the small sins. Anas radiallahu anhu, he says, إِنَّكُمْ لَتَعْمَلُونَ أَعْمَالًا. Verily you're doing acts, deeds. هِيَ أَدَقُّ فِي أَعْيُنِكُمْ مِنَ الشَّعْرِ. It is thinner than the thickness of the hair according to what you believe it is, according to your standard, according to your categorization. You believe it is thinner than the thickness of the hair. For verily we used to reckon those things at the time of the Prophet of Allah and consider them from the mubiqat. Mubiqat means the destroyers, al-muhlikat. And this admonishing of Anas, which he says that you, and he's talking to whom? Anybody tell me? Huh? No. He's talking about the followers. Companions, he said, we, he's talking about the followers. So followers, you're the followers. You are doing things from the sins which you reckon they are, you consider them that they are thinner in terms of evil, in terms of impact, thinner than the thickness of the hair. That means insignificant. But yet, at the time of the Prophet of Allah, we, who's we? Companions. And remember, the Prophet of Allah, he had only Anas radiallahu anhu for 10 years, that's it. And he was young when he joined the Prophet of Allah. But we used to consider them as to be destroyers, great sins. And that's at the time of the followers. The time of ours, we are falling into the great, grievous sins. Never mind the thickness of the hair, and even less than the thickness of the hair. We're doing major sins. We are really feeling there's no problems, insignificant. So the iman, every time it is stronger, the person will deter himself from falling into the ma'siyah, into falling into the sin. And every time the iman goes weaker, then the person, he would fall into the sin, and not only that, he would consider that sin as nothing. So that is why you find him, for example, not praying on time, and he does not care about embarking upon the sin, regardless how small it is or big it is. And here the Prophet ﷺ is the one who had given the root for this admonishing of Anas, when he said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحَقَّرَاتِ الذُّنُوبِ. Be aware of the insignificant sins. Muhaqqarat means the one that people consider them nothing, or call them as-saghar, small ones. So be aware of them. The similarity of those small sins, like, and the Prophet was giving an example, people who came to a valley, and each one collected one wooden stick until they got enough to bake the bread. One wooden stick would not do that much. But when you get one wood, another stick, a little branch, you'll get a pile of that until they set fire to it and they bake the bread. So exactly the similar thing regarding the sins when they get together, one after the other, until they are enough to destroy the person. So, إِيَّاكُمْ وَمُحَقَّرَاتِ الذُّنُوبِ. So if the person, that is, if he looks at the sins, the ones who are under the umbrella of the sagha'ir, which is the small sins, he will not maybe find himself, deterring himself to fall into it because it's small sins. And he will all the time depend upon the pardoning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then after that, he'll find himself having so many sins around him that would make him destroyed. Imam Ahmad, whenever he used to walk onto a muddy area, he used to make sure that he will not fall into it. So one day he went into there, and then he went inside it. So he said to his friends and his students, the person is all the time trying to avoid the sins until he will plunge into it. So if the person regards those sins as to be dirt, would you like to put yourself into the dirt? You don't like to put yourself into the dirt. Even those dirt are small dirts. Because a small dirt with small dirts will get a bigger dirt. So all the time, make the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala up high, and the prohibition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be as well respected, and all the time put into your eyes what Bilal ibn Sa'id, one of the tabi'een, he had said, Don't look at how small is your sin, but look at the one whom you are sinning against. So don't look at the one whom you are, don't look at the smallness or how small is your sin, but look at the one you are sinning against. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if the believer is looking at the sins in the way that we have described, and that Allah Azza wa Jalla is the one you are sinning against, that definitely the person, he will, deter himself. You don't want to upset Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the smallest things, because you claim that you love Allah Azza wa Jalla. So that is why Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, verily the believer and the hypocrite, the difference between them. The believer, when he looks at his sins, he looks that he is like under a mountain, is about to collapse on top of it. Whereas the hypocrite, the one who doesn't care, he looks at his sins like a fly. Went to the top of his nose, he just did like this and flew away. That means it's nothing for him. So, if you regard your sins as like a mountain is about to fall on top of you, then you will be able to cure yourself, mashallah. Ibn Battal, rahimahullah, he says, one of the great scholars who had made as well interpretation of the hadith of Imam Sahih Bukhari, he says that they used to regard the small sins from the destroyers. Why? Because of their extreme fear to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though that they haven't got any major sins. And if you look at the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when the day of resurrection takes place and the people want one of the prophets to intercede in order for Allah Azza wa Jal to stop the reckoning, to stop the turmoil, the sun is closed and the earth is shaking. So by their fitrah they go to Adam alayhi salam, and Adam, he says, I'm not fit for it, and he remembers what he's done. And then all the way they go down to Ibrahim alayhi salam, and Ibrahim alayhi salam, he remembers that he has done 3 lies. Those 3 lies, it's a matter of fact, it's not a lie. It is what we call it double speech or ambiguous. Where he says a word and he means something else. And it's been mentioned in the hadith of these 3 words. When he was asked who had destroyed all his idols, he said, ask the big one. It's not a lie. It's like to try to tell them, that's what's wrong with you. It's not a lie. Second one, which is when he said, I am ill. It means I'm ill of what you're doing. I'm sick of what you're doing. So that's not a lie. So you meant something and they thought something else. And the third one, when he was asked about his wife, he said she's his sister. And she's his sister in Islam, in the deen. In other narrations in Imam Muslim, which Ibn Hajar, he says is not authentic, he said that instead of the third one, which is that is his sister, that his wife's sister, he said when he was asked, he said, look at the such and such planet, it's my God, it's bigger. Look at the sun, it's bigger, God. So anyway, but that is not really authentic. This is not, we would say that is the Rawi, he says, the narrator, did not really get it right. The third one is when he said about his wife is to be his sister. Basically, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he regards those to be lies even though it's not a lie. And that he said, I am shy to go and ask my Lord. Why he considered it to be a lie? Because his inside was not matching to his outside. His inward was not matching and synchronizing with his outward. His outward, he said, Inni saqim, and inside he meant, I'm ill, which is from what you do. His outward, he said, that it is my sister, but his inward, his wife. So that difference between his inward and outward made him to say, I'm not fit for it. It shows you that this is the ultimate fear. This is the ultimate fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if the muhaqqarat, which is the small sins, they come to many of them, they become major sins. And by insisting on doing them, then you will not care about doing them. You will just start to do them. And that is why Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, radiallahu anhu, he says, the man, he would do the hasanah, and he would be assured of it. And he will be assured that he's, mashallah, I've done the hasanah. And yet, he does the small sins because he is overconfident with his hasanah that he's done. So on the day of resurrection, he will meet Allah Azza wa Jal while his small sins are surrounding him. Whereas the other person who is doing the sin, and yet he's all the time in fear of doing more sins until he would meet Allah on the day of resurrection and he's safe. So don't be conceived and don't be fooled regarding that you are doing hasan and that's it. So Abu Abdurrahman al-Hubli, he says, rahimahullah, regarding this, he said, the one who avoids the kaba'ir, the major sins, and he falls into the minor sins, the minor sin, is like a person who had met a beast. Then he had avoided him until he was saved and got away. Then he met a camel, or even the young camel, and he avoided him and he was safe. And then an ant, just bit him, a little ant. He didn't care. Another ant, until those ants killed him. So he avoided the what? The beast. And avoided what? The young camel. But he did not avoid the small ants thinking they know nothing until they killed him. So that is why the poet had said, خَلِّ الذُّنُوبَ صَغِيرَهَا وَكَبِيرَهَا ذَاكَ التُّقَى. Leave the sins, whether the major or the minor, this is the taqwa. وَاصْنَعْ كَمَاشٍ فَوْقَ أَرْضِ الشَّوْكِ يَحْذَرُ مَا يَرَى. And do like the ones who is walking over the land, he is avoiding the thorns. It's like walking in the land which is full of thorns, he's avoiding that. As soon as he sees the thorn, he avoids it. Do like that. وَلَا تَحْقِرَنَّ صَغِيرَةً. And do not say about a sin, it is really a little sin, insignificant. إِنَّ الْجِبَالَ مِنَ الْحَصَى. Verily the mountains are formed from small pebbles. The mountain, the big mountain, if you look at what is the original mountain, it's pebbles, small ones, until they made what? A big mountain. So here, the Anas radiallahu anhu, he said, don't do those small sins, for verily they are al-mubiqat. They are the ones who will destroy you. The word mubiqat, the scholars have differed regarding the word mubiqat. What does it mean? Some scholars, they said it is actually the person who is abandoning his Salat al-Jama'ah. Not the Salah. Salat al-Jama'ah. Avoid person who is supposed to come to the Jama'ah prayer congregation, he does not come to it. Some of them, they said it is the person who in transaction and he does ghush or ghish, meaning he cheats. Sometimes, these people these days, they consider the cheating when they buy and sell is that skillful. The skilled person in selling and buying. Why he's skillful? Because he managed to sell something with cheating. So also some of the scholars, they said the riba, this is from the destroyers. So riba as well is from the destroyers. Some people said, or the scholars, that to spray someone in his face by lying, that also from those destroyers, and others. Right, so this is from the admonishing of Anas radiallahu anhu warḍah. And it brings us to make sure that we are not falling into the small sins. What is a small sin? What are the major sin? The major sin is every sin which entailed, number one, that is a prescribed punishment in the dunya, or a sin that is being mentioned in the book or the sunnah by the curse of Allah, la'an Allah. Or the sin which incurred the wrath, the anger of Allah Azza wa Jalla on the person. Or a sin had made the person to be promised by the fire on the hereafter. That means you'll be destined to the hellfire. Or a sin that will be entailing that you will be deprived from paradise. Or a sin, it will take away their iman. So all these six, if any one of them comes, it makes it a major sin. I'll repeat them again. If the sin had incurred a punishment, prescribed punishment in the hereafter, in the dunya, like amputation of the hand for a thief, like lashing for the one who drinks alcohol, or the sin that incurred or it has in this text the la'na, the curse of Allah. So Allah cursed so and so who has done so. لَعَنَ اللَّهُ النَّامِسَةَ وَالْمُتَنَمِّصَةَ. May Allah had cursed the one from the woman who plucks their hair, has her hair plucked as well. So that's from the kaba'ir. Or the sin that has the wrath of Allah, so entailed the wrath, the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the person. Or it had entailed a punishment of the fire thereafter, or deprivation from paradise, or that is the negation of Iman. All of these means the major sin. As for the minor sin is the opposite. So if there is no punishment in the dunya, there is no la'na, there is no curse, there is no wrath of Allah Azza wa Jalla upon the person, this is not entailing the punishment thereafter, then it is a smaller sin. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was warning his companions from falling into the smaller sins, because it is very rare that the companions would fall into the major ones. And because as well the person all the time he would keep himself from falling into the major sins, but normally it is the case he would not keep himself well away from the minor sins. So the Prophet of Allah had given us a very great example when he said the similarity of the smaller sins, like those people who went on a journey and each one collected a piece of wood until they had gathered what is enough to bake the bread. That means it will kill you. Now the Prophet ﷺ, he says, and before we say to the Prophet ﷺ, look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had said regarding those people who had not cared about their sins and what Allah has done to them. We find, for example, in Surah Al-An'am, verse number 6, Allah says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا, can they see, كَمْ أَهْلَكْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ, how we have destroyed people before them, مِنْ قَرْنٍ مَكَّنَّاهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, people who had we empowered them in the land. مَا لَمْ نُمَكِّنْ لَكُمْ, we did not even empower you the same way. وَأَرْسَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْهِمْ مِدْرَارًا, we have sent the rain upon them in abundance. وَجَعَلْنَا الْأَنْهَارَ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهِمْ, and we have made the rivers to flow from underneath. فَأَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ بِذُنُوبِهِمْ, but we have destroyed them because of their sins. وَأَنْشَأْنَا مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ قَوْمًا أَوْ قَرْنًا آخَرِينَ, and after that we have made another generation to take over because of their sins. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even details in Surah Al-Ankabut that how Allah punishes those people who are making the sins by the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jalla. This is in Surah Al-Ankabut verse 40. Allah says, فَكُلًّا أَخَذْنَا بِذَنْبِهِ, each one of these people, each one of these tribes, each one of those followers of the Prophet, we have punished them according to their sins. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِ حَاصِبٍ, some of them we have sent them showers of stones. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَخَذَتْهُ الصَّيْحَةُ, some of them they had an awful cry and killed them. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ خَسَفْنَا بِهِ الْأَرْضِ, and some of them we made the earth to swallow them. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ أَغْرَقْنَا, and some of them we made them to be drowned. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ يَظْلِمَهُمْ, Allah did not oppress them, وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ, but they have wronged themselves. So the Prophet ﷺ, he says, verily the believer, when he does a sin, there's a black spot goes into his heart. If he had repented to Allah and pulled away from the sin, sought forgiveness, his heart would return back, shining and glowing. But if he did not, and if he increased, that spot will increase, the black spot. And this is that Allah says about it, Ar-Ran. And the Prophet when he recited Surah Al-Mutaffifin, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. This is the Ran that is building up upon the heart because of what they have earned. This is the Ran. Ran means like a rust. The rust builds upon the heart. Now as I said, we find the Muslims these days don't talk about just not avoiding the small sins, but they're not avoiding even the major sins. Allahu musta'an. Can I ask to put the YouTube, take this inside because it's really cold. I think it's because of the fan. Yes, goes with this. Jazakallah khair. Right, so let's just talk about some of those sins that the people had no care about them. They thought them to be insignificant. Sin by sin, inshallah, and we will finish them. Number one, which is a sin that is common, and I hope that some people would carry this to the people outside, because I don't think that somebody is sitting in this class and caring to sit in the class is the one that we are really keen to tell them. It's actually those are the ones who leave outside or they don't even come to the masjid. Those are the ones that we need to address them. Cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes. Cigarettes is from the thing that the people don't pay attention to. And even not just the men, there's women, there's even children, all of them, male and female, except for Allah Azza wa Jalla have mercy upon, they have gone into this sin, which they think is not nothing. So just to make sure that they understand what is the cigarettes impact upon the person, first of all, cigarettes is haram, regardless whether you smoke it with the papers that you wrap it, or by putting it into a pipe, or even into this electronic cigarettes these days, something that our scholars didn't know about before. Okay, it is even worse. Worse in terms of that they're using batteries and even more money. And worse because it makes it to the person easy to do it. He said, no, khalas, no nicotine, I'm already safe from it. There's no harm for me. What about the harm, which is the haram of the money, the usage of the money? If we think about how many Muslims they smoke these days, and each person how many packets of cigarettes he smoke, and you take the average of that, you will know that this will affect the economy of the Muslim Ummah. And I'm not joking. In any country, Muslim country, you think about, for example, in Jordan, in my country, you know, as soon as you come into the airport, as soon as you land, you come out from the nice smell that you have in your plane, you go inside the airport, the cigarette smell is there. As soon as you come in. Even though the big sign, no smoking, but you'll find, Allah musta'an, this so-called rooms for smokers, mashallah, I should say, la hawla wa la quwwata illa, full. And the musalla is almost empty. And I'll tell you what, the one who built our airport in Jordan is the French company. And what they made, the musalla is smaller than the size of our toilet here. And I'm not joking, smaller than the size of our toilets here. Whereas the room for smokers is half of this masjid. That's how it is. So that half of the masjid is the area for smokers, and the size of the, I don't know if anybody went to the new airport of Jordan, you'll be amazed. How are the people going to pray? It is only 1 row and a half. 1 row and a half. And even that half has to do with the imam. There's no such thing that imam is on his own. So, you cold. You are, look at it. So, the cigarettes, it is khabith. Khabith means filth. How do I know it's khabith? Okay, a simple experiment. This dear boy was really making a stretch in his arms, mashallah. If, for example, the father of his saw in his hand, let's say a packet of chocolate, lots of chocolate, I don't think, well, he'd tell him off. He would just say to him, you know, it's got rot in your tooth, be careful, get over that. But if he finds with him a little cigarette, what does he do to him? Even if the father is a smoker. Even if the father is a smoker. The father will not ever allow his son to smoke just like he smokes. As long as he's got common sense. If he's dirty-minded, it's something else. But the father will not, if he accepts it for himself because he's weak enough or he's not strong enough to fight the cigarettes, he will not let his son to do that. But he will not take the sweeter from his hand. That's one indication is filth. Come here, boys, fill up the gaps. And because the adults, the problem is the adults that they're not teaching you. When the adults they sit at the back, you don't sit like, yes. Jazakallah khair. We're going to really implement that into your heart. You have to sit close. We find that the person, he might take his cigarettes and smoke them in the toilet. Yes? He enjoys it as well. But you never find a person taking a sandwich, eating it while he's doing it in the toilet. Unless he's dirty-minded as well. That's from the khabath, from the filth. You'll find a person would hide his packet of cigarettes inside his socks. We used to do these things when we were kids. I've seen them when we caught the kids avoiding the teachers because they would be beaten up. They'd put the cigarettes where? Inside the socks. Here. But you'll never ever put your sandwich inside your sock. Because that is dirt, filth, and this is not. This is tayyibat and this is khabath. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made the khabath haram. Allah says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا أُحِلَّ لَهُ. They're asking you, Prophet, what is halal for them? قُلْ أُحِلَّ لَكُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. Say that the tayyibat is halal for them. This is Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse number 4. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He sent the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He describes him, An-Nabi al-Ummi. This is the Prophet who's illiterate. الَّذِي يَجِدُونَهُ مَكْتُوبًا عِنْدَهُمْ فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ. The one whom they find his name written in the Torah, the book of the Jews, and the Injil, which is the gospel of the Christians. يَأْمُرُهُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, enjoining them to do good, وَيَنْهَاهُمْ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and forbidding them to do evil, وَيَحِلُّ لَهُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ, He makes طيبات, the good things to be halal, وَيُحَرِّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ, and He makes the khabaith upon them is to be haram, and that is in Surah Al-Araf, verse 157. So every tayyib is halal, and every khabith is to be haram, and the dukhan, the smoking of the cigarettes, is to be definitely from the khabath, so it is haram. Also, we know for facts, for sure now, from the doctors, from the scientists, that the tadkheen, smoking, is bad to your health. And we can't prove it more than those people who at the moment, they're banning it everywhere. They want to stop it completely. It's costing the country to treat people from the illness of the resulting from the smoke than the profit they're getting it from what? From the tax of those cigarettes. It's true or not? What they're getting from tax on the cigarette is not matching the amount of money they're spending on NHS to treat these people from the filth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Don't throw your hand, don't kill yourself. وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِكُمْ رَحِيمًا. So Allah said, don't kill yourself. Don't throw yourself into disaster. And throwing yourself into disaster by smoking cigarettes. لَا ضَرَرَ وَلَا ضِرَارَ. Prophet said, you should not have something that is harmful in itself or harmful to another. And if it is haram, then it's haram to spend money on it. Imagine somebody rolls a £5 note and he puts it in his mouth and he set fire to it. You will say this is crazy. And you will add this is haram. But this person is doing more. He's, with this £5, he's buying something which is going to be harmful to him, and he's smoking it and he's inhaling it inside. So he's worse than the person who's rolling a £5 note and smoking it and setting fire to it. And the Prophet said the person's 2 feet will not be taken away from the grave until he'll be questioned about his money. Where did he earn it from? And where did he spend it? Where did he earn your money? These 2 questions. And where did he spend it? And spending your money on the cigarettes definitely is haram. So if the person spends his money in halal, regardless how much, he will never be called musrif. Who did? When the Prophet ﷺ, he asked for companions to pay charity, what did Abu Bakr do? He brought all his money. Never said, the Prophet of Allah, he said, you are musrif, ya Abu Bakr. You made israf, haram, extravagance. Because you spend it in the halal. But once you spend money, regardless how little it is, on the haram, it is haram. So Allah says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا وَلَا تُسْرِفُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُسْرِفِينَ. Eat and drink and don't make israf. Surah Al-Araf, verse 31. For verily Allah does not love the ones who does israf. This, as I said, cigarettes would kill the economy and the budget of the people, the budget of the whole country, as I said. So fear Allah, you smoker, and stop smoking from today. So I want you to stop smoking from today. If you heard about this message, stop smoking from today. From the sins that the people, they don't care about, looking at the women, as we have said, it's from these sins. Looking at the women, haram. Haram. That is haram. Also from the sins that the people are doing, that is playing dice. You have seen them, and they are making halal dice, Islamic dice, which is called snake and ladder. They call it Islamic Monopoly. Have you heard about Islamic Monopoly? Yeah, it's called Islamic Monopoly. It's called Islamic Monopoly. You open it there, and there's a snake and ladders in it, and then you throw the dice. It will take you to the Islamic bank. Jump 3 steps. It will take you to the masjid. Takes you to, mashallah. Allahu musta'an. Haram mixed with halal. This is even worse. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said he would play with the nard, and nard, which is the dice. It's like he had put his hand into the swine flesh, the swine, the pig, the flesh and the blood. So be careful. And also these people who play in the nard, usually is the case, they waste what? Their time. Time wasters. Jamal ad-Din al-Qasimi, the great scholar of Bilad al-Sham, when he passed by the club, those people playing with the nard, said, I wish time that can be purchased, I could really buy it from these people. You can't buy time, you can't sell time, that's the problem. But if you add to it the flavor of money, then it becomes what? Becomes what? Gambling. So if you start now playing with money, that's gambling. And this is even haram, major sin. It's minor, comes to major. From those sins that the people they don't really pay attention to is that the woman, when she travels without a mahram, without a mahram, Allahu musta'an. We find even some of the brothers who come to this masjid, mashallah. This masjid, I mean masajid, not this masjid. You'll find them, mashallah, with beads and everything. And their wife has traveled to such and such country without any male mahram. Mahram means a man, a male, who is having the following conditions. He's a male. Number 1, puberty. Number 2, sane. So you've got puberty, sane, and of course he's what? A man. Does he have to be Muslim? No. The mahram doesn't have to be a Muslim. It could be your blood brother who's a kafir, or your father who's a kafir. He's a mahram, but he's not wali. Right, so these people make their wives travel without mahram. Be careful, what are you doing? Imagine that your wife or your daughter, your sister, your mother had something happen to her. Even if it's on board of the plane, some people say, I hand her in the airport, and then her brother receives her on the other end of the airport. That means when she flies. So what happened in the middle? He wants to keep his mind closed. He doesn't want to think about it. What happens if something happens to her? She falls. Then you'll find men carrying her, or not mahram. What do you find? How do you guarantee if it's a wife of yours, a man comes and chit chat with her, God knows what's going to happen? Well, if you are trusting this, your wife of yours, or the sister of yours, the daughter of yours, so much that you are a person who's a'udhu billah, you're not trusting the words of Allah enough. So you're trusting your sister more than you trust what? The words? Words of Allah saying to you, La tusafir, a woman who wants to travel, she should not travel without a mahram if she believes on Allah on the last day. Man kana tu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir, who believes on Allah on the last day, she should not travel a traveling distance without a mahram. From those as well, sins that the people they don't really pay attention to, also is that the women who are putting perfume, lots of women, they put perfume, they come out with it. If they don't put perfume, you ask, I can't smell perfume, haram. No, I put some cream. Well, that cream has got perfume, it's the same thing. Some of the creams, they got even more perfume than the perfume itself. So be careful. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, verily the woman, if she's been perfumed, and she comes out and the people smells her, then she's what? Fornicator. Zani. Zaniyah, fornicator. Even though that she will not be lashed. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he met a woman, and she come to see the masjid, to pray in the masjid. And he smelled from her that nice smell. So he said, you woman, where are you heading? She said, I came from the masjid. She's already there. He said to her, and you have been perfumed? She said, yes. He said, verily, I have heard my love, Abu al-Qasim Muhammad sallallahu saying that Allah does not accept the prayer of a woman who had come to the masjid with perfume on until she washes herself the same wash of janabah. Then your prayer is invalid. It's invalid. No, you don't have to repeat it. It's invalid. And we leave that as this. Some people ask the following question. When the Prophet ﷺ, he says that the kahin, and this is another one, another sin that the people they don't care about. Al-kahin, al-arraf, the soothsayer, the fortune teller. When the Prophet ﷺ said, if you go to him, just go to him for the sake of what? Curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat. Just for the sake of curiosity. Then Allah would not accept from you what? 40 days of prayers. That's 200 obligatory prayers. 40 days. He would not accept it. So some people say that means, no, will not accept it. That means, you know, it will not be accepted as in, it will be taken as a prayer for the day, but it will, no, it is not going to be accepted. That's it. We'll take it like this. No matter what he does, it will not be accepted for 40 days. And he doesn't have to do qaza. Can you say that? Qaza for them. No qaza for them. Qada. For 40 days. Same thing, the woman, she has not had her prayer accepted because she had perfume when he went to the masjid. And that is why we find the women and the men, they don't really pay attention that much to that thing. That the woman should not put perfumed. The woman is fitna. So she's fitna, she's making herself more fitna by not going with a mahram when she travels, and by perfuming herself. So fitna upon a fitna and upon a fitna. So fear Allah for those men who buy for their women perfume to come out with it. If she's in the house, no problem. Also from those sins that the people they do and they don't care is those people who are the women, again the ones who are plucking the eyebrows, the hair. They're plucking the hair and they are making their face looking nicer, and by plucking the hair, all of that. And on the other side, the men who shave their beards, shaving their beards from the sins of the people they don't care about. And it's a major sin, not a minor sin. And when I said the people take these sins to be insignificant, I don't mean that they are what? Minor. For the Prophet ﷺ, he had commanded us to let go of the beard. And he said about the women who pluck their hair to be cursed. Also from the sins that the people they don't care about, or they don't pay attention to, is shaking the hand of a woman. Shaking the hand of a woman who is not a mahram. He's not a mahram for her. So the cousin or any strange woman. Prophet of Allah, he said, verily for the person to be stuck with a needle in his head, with a nail in his head, rather it's better for him than to shake the hand of a woman who is not a mahram for him. So be careful. Also we find from those sins that the people they don't care about, as we have said, is the mixing up. So when you look at the women, and also when you mix, call it the free mixing and call it disaster mixing. This disaster mixing is haram, because it makes you to go and mix with a woman and to be on her own, with her on her own, And the khalwa means you are with her in such a way that if you talk to her, nobody can hear you. That's the khalwa. So even if you're in a car, and people can see you through the glass, the windows, you are in a khalwa with that woman, because you could talk to her while people can't hear you. It's called khalwa. And the Prophet of Allah said, إِيَّاكُمْ وَالدُّخُولَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ, be aware of entering on the women. And even when he was asked regarding the brother of the husband, he said he's dead. He will kill the society. So make sure that you don't make ikhtilat, mixing up. Especially this mixing up happening on God knows, everywhere now these days. And then the khalwa. So ikhtilat, and after that the khalwa. Khalwa, that means to be in your own with a woman. And once you're in your own, then the shaitan is the third. From those sins that the people as well don't pay attention to is the music. These days you find the youth, when they go to the madrasa, the schools, they've got headphones. I don't think they're listening to Quran. I'm talking about the Muslim ones. I don't think they're listening to Quran. I don't think so. Maybe find 0.001%. Maybe one person in the whole school, maybe. But most of them, if you grab their headphones and just listen to what they're listening to, you'll find it's not really Quran or any lesson that you want to learn from, but it's actually music. And the music would lead straight away to the fornication. Music, rock and roll, and then drinking alcohol, and then women. And from those sins as well that the people don't care about is images. Like statues. Find them, there's people. You know what makes me really sad? It's a man with a beard. MashaAllah's got a topi. And he's saying, MashaAllah, Islamic dress. And he's putting the Islamic dress on a molecule, which is what? A shape of a human being. That kills me really. Again, Muslim, beard. I've seen him. Topi. He's got a bayat, for women. And he's putting it on a manicure. It's called manicure? Mannequin, the mannequin which has got the shape of a woman. And that's a statue. And you talk to them about it, they don't care, they don't really take it. It's a major sin. My heart goes boom, boom, and this person is living with them. It's a statue. People don't laugh about it. And dear boys are not laughing about this. It's a major issue. Wallah. I understand if somebody is shaven, understand somebody who's not even a Muslim, I understand even these things, no problem. But you're a sheikh and a topi, and then on top of that he's selling Muslim dresses, mashallah, and you put Quran in your shop as well, and he's using these things. That's why this is why these are the sins that the people, they don't care about, they're going to destroy us. Allah musta'an. Also from the sins that the people, they don't care about, is that the tongue. And this is from the admonishing of Anas radiallahu anhu. Anas, he says, from his admonishing is Anas, he says radiallahu anhu, he says that the one who has no taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who does not keep his tongue. So you have to prison your tongue from indulging into haram. Then you'll have the taqwa. So a person will have no taqwa if he does not imprison his tongue, restrict his tongue to fall into the haram. And that is, of course, being taken away or taken from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ to a number of companions, to Uqba ibn Amir al-Juhani, when he said to him, hold your tongue, keep your tongue in check. Mu'adh ibn Jabal, keep your tongue in check. And the Prophet said, he who guarantees for me what is between his jaws, between his legs, I guarantee for him paradise. All of those. So this is to show us that the tongue is the one who is going to lead you either to paradise or the hellfire. The tongue, I call it the sheikh of the limbs. The sheikh of the limbs. It is. All the limbs every morning, they come to the sheikh. They say, Sheikh, fear Allah in us. We are with you. Either you're going to take us to paradise, or you're going to take us to the hellfire. They say, either you are with us, we are with you. If you are straight, we will be straight, that means in paradise. And if you are like this, We are like this with you. So so either you take us to paradise or you take us away. And they say, fear Allah. Ittaqillah fina. Imagine limbs talking to your tongue. Ittaqillah fina. Fear Allah in us. Fear Allah regarding us. That means don't take us to hellfire. You tongue, don't take us to the hellfire. So don't let your tongue go into the haram. Always let it go into the halal. If there's a good word, make your tongue speak. If there is nothing good to talk about, keep quiet. Keep it quiet. And samat energy. He was being quiet, then he will have salvation. Ghiba, namima, all of those things that the people got really no problem about them. Ghiba, namima. From the sins of that people don't care about, as I said, shirk. And from the shirk is going to the soothsayers. People as well, they make oaths by other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As from the shirk, also from the sins that the people they don't care about is not coming to the Salat al-Jama'ah, the congregational prayer. So also from the sins that the people they don't care about, that when they take a loan and they give the brother a date which they knew for sure they will not fulfill their promise. Next week I'll give it to you, brother. He just says that in order to what? To what? Yeah, to really tempt him. Okay, next week, okay, give him money, and it's going to be not next week, not even next month, not even next year. God knows. You give him next week and that's it. You don't find even the brother saying salam to you, he avoids you, hides from you. And he ends up with enmity all the time, animosity, and hatred between the brothers. From the haram things that is a person he should as well avoid, and it's a significant thing, the people that feel that there's nothing, is that when they exploit or when they use a person for his position to give him a bribe, do this for me, and they give him money, you're helping him to do haram. And you know that what you want to do is to jump the queue, for example. You're not supposed to do that. I think I have done a lot of sins that I've talked about. I maybe left something here and there. It's for you, inshallah, to ask me questions. And this is from the Mawa'id of Anas radiallahu anhu, from the, as I said, admonishing of Anas radiallahu anhu warḍah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us on the path. If you have any questions, go ahead. I'm going to just stop here. Fadl.
Sheikh, they said that the monopoly in the Islamic one is halal. So the monopoly that you have to bring 2 dices.
No, I didn't say halal. I didn't halal.
You said haram.
No, I said haram.
You said it's haram. So
Yeah.
the monopoly doesn't have Islamic, but you have to pay with 2 dices and the money and everything. So is that one haram?
I said haram. I think you're not paying attention. It's called Islamic monopoly, which is a name should not be given to that. Monopoly is monopoly. It's like we have an Islamic costume for swimming. Islamic bank. So all these harams. Islamic mixing. I don't know. Islamic now it becomes as well secularist. How can it be secularist? Islamics. You've heard about this? Yes. Secularist Islamists, like for example, the party of Irfa that leading Turkey. You don't understand that? Those people who led Turkey, you know what I'm talking about. Gul and the other ones. They led Turkey, and they've got their hizb, in their hizb, there it says that their party is secularist. And they're giving equal opportunities for the ones who are from the deen or the non-deen. And that's secularist. There is no such thing called Muslim secularist. Either you're a Muslim or you're secularist. A Muslim communist. How can a Muslim and communist? 2 opposite things. The communists believe, Islam doesn't believe. You can't have that too. There's no such thing that we dilute like this. So, Islamic monopoly, it does not exist. Monopoly. Monopoly is haram in itself. Because the dice is haram. Dice means luck. Anything to do with luck is haram. So if you have played card games, The card games, they have, first of all, images. If they don't have images, then we come to the second one. Is the game depends upon more than 50% on luck, or is it on skill? If it is luck, like the poker, and the poker is always played with what? Money. And it's haram because it's luck, and haram because of the gambling. But if it is one of those games, and there's no image in the card, where it is game depends upon skill, thinking and memorization, that's halal as long as you don't really use it all the time and waste your time. But if you do it once in a while, no problem. Domino is the same thing as well. Halal. Now,
does chess fall under that category?
when I say chess fall into the category, yes, but you understand what is the category. Number one, the images has to be taken out, because the images here is not just image of a picture, but an image of statue picture, 3-dimensional. If you take the, is it the, what is it, the throne? Is the one called the horse? What is it called? The throne? The knight. It's got the shape and the cross of the queen and the king. Yeah, cross king, yeah. The cross of the king. You take that out, take that image of that, and then the chess has got nothing to do with luck whatsoever. You can't be lucky to win. You never win. Used to be a person who knows and skill, no problem. Play the chess, but as I said, not every second and every day, because these people play chess, I know them. They are addicted to it. They play a game, he defeated, I'm gonna have another one. I'm gonna have another one. And now I beat you. And then Asr prayer, they can't even pray. Let's delay it. Make combination. It's called chess combination. Dhuhr and Asr. Then after that we'll have disaster combination. Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha, one together, one go. Then forget about the prayer, we'll do the next day. That's what it does. So be careful. So chess, I wouldn't say it's haram. Now.
Going back to that question.
Who's that question? Can you go to your question? No.
A lot of the brothers, they say there's a hadith saying that chess is haram.
There's no hadith that says it's just haram. No. Follow.
Regarding the woman traveling without mahram, if it's not a travel, then is it allowed for her to be without mahram?
If
She's not allowed to travel except with the mahram.
Yeah.
If it's not a travel, she'd have to be without mahram.
she's not traveling. Yeah, for example, she's going to, let's say, supermarket here. She doesn't have to have mahram. But she has to have security. That's another issue. If you felt that the woman she's going to go in a place, in a time, which is vulnerable, you're not allowed to send her alone. She could send her for another woman. Two together. So for example, if we are in the area of EDL, and it's night, I wouldn't send her even with a woman. I would send her with maybe a bunch of women, mashallah, fit ones, strong ones, tall ones, yes. But I will not send her alone during the night. But during the day, yeah, I could shop around, and mashallah. In Luton, I think it's safe. Yeah, it's no problem. But safety is very important as well. It's nothing to do with safety with mahram, it's to do with leaving on our own. So if, for example, a person wants to have a boarding school to his daughter, let's say in Birmingham, there is boarding school. When she goes from here to Birmingham, she needs a mahram. But when she stays in the boarding school and he trusts the woman there who's taking care of her, and there is no way of her communicating with the other sex, all of that, no problem. And she doesn't need a mahram there. Only the mahram is needed for what? For travel. So if she is living in Saudi Arabia and teaching there, among sisters, and you are safe and everything, all you have to do is just to get her there. When she wants to come, you can't go there and pick her up. There, if you have security, no problem, inshallah. Fadal.
Your boss, there's some people who say the shisha is halal. So
Shisha. Who says shisha is halal?
some people, they think the
Shisha
shisha is halal.
is halal. Oh. Well, you tell me which type though. There's apple, there's strawberry. There's lots of flavors these days. Okay, all of the shisha is haram. The shisha is called in English hookah pipe. Hookah pipe. Or hubbly bubbly. Hubbly bubbly. Most of the shishas in Egypt is to do with hashisha. So give me shisha, that means give me hashisha. And hashish, you know the hashish. It's like a dope. Something that makes you somewhere else. Okay? And it's been proved, medically speaking, if you smoke hashish for a long time, you have brain damage in the long run. That's scientifically speaking. You have brain damage. Lots of hashish also. I've been talking about this issue just yesterday with a brother who was a specialist. So he's got brain damage from the hashish. Now, uncle, yes? مؤذن in كتاب القرطبي, yes, in كتاب التذكرة القرطبي. نعم.
Look at the Christian woman who reverted, married her. My question is...
He did not revert. He reverted. He committed apostasy. He committed apostasy. He reverted, he come to Islam. He committed apostasy, he became Christian. No.
The question is, will Allah punish him for a period of time for his apostasy, but because he was a Muslim?
No. All his deeds will be invalidated, uncle. All his, because he became a kafir. He will not be rewarded for his ta'deeb. He's actually maybe will be punished more because he knew the haqq and he left it. He knew the haqq, he left it, like Fir'aun. And he was a mu'adhin, wal-iyadhu billah. Now, but because of the, as you see, when you come into the love of a woman, you might do whatever just to get her. And that is why some of the say, I die if you die, you know? If something happens to you, I'll kill myself. This type of love is this. I call it stupid love. Now,
saying off to your parents.
huh?
What is that like? You know, to say something just into your kind of off or go that way.
To say, well, from the sins that the youth, they don't really care about, that not saying oof, but they don't answer their parents. They shout their parents, or make their parents shout at them. This is one of these sins that the people they don't care about. Because he thinks his father and mother are backwards and he comes from the, recent age, and they come from Flintstone age. So that's what he thinks about it. He thinks how stupid they are. So when they ask him, he just even doesn't care to answer. A'udhu billah. Rebellious person. He's not going to be happy in his life. So oof, and not even answering and giving that look. It's not oof. Some of the children have seen them going like this, look to their father. That means what? No worry. Not enough. For him, his friend is closer to them than his father. Closer to him than his mother. This friend of his, he doesn't know, the idiot, that when he grows up, that friend of his is going to leave him. He's going to get married or I'm going to leave him. No. And it ends up with his parents. He's the one who's going to save him. When he's bankrupt, he's going to look after him. When he's really in need of them, they will be there for him. SubhanAllah, what an insolent child he is. And it's all of it to do with now what the junk that we are feeding our children, or our children being fed without us knowing about it. In even the cartoons that they see it encourages them to be defiant to their what? Their parents. Wallahi, it tells them. You'll find a brother saying to his sister, I hate you. Where did you get it from? I hate you. I hate you. Where did you get it from? From this being from the media. Picking it up. I hate you and I hate you. How can you say to a brother, blood brother, I hate you? How can you? No. Should be brothers and sisters. Slapping the face is haram. Breaking the bones is haram. Hitting the child so much that you want to get revenge from is haram. Disciplining the child is halal and wajib. Compulsory. Okay? You can't let the child do whatever he likes. You have to be a watch on him. This is the society. You want to produce to this society good people. Not children go drug addicts and all of that. But as I said, not all scenarios are really bad. Some of them are really good and shining, alhamdulillah. Yeah, the little cubic does, doesn't it?
Is that the Islamic definition of dice?
Yes, that's it. No, this is the Islamic definition.
You have the spinners as well, with numbers on it.
Anything to do with luck, I said.
Anything to do with
Yes, but the dice is a dice, that's what it is. Because the dice is from a Persian. It's before Islam. They call it Shesh Bish. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
The nut.
Yeah, about the strictness, is it you should be very strict or the normal strictness?
What's that?
Well, like for the parents.
But the parents should be very strict or not?
Very strict or like.
Are you recording? That depends upon the fathers and the situation. Sometimes in a situation it should be very strict, and sometimes it has to be what? To release a bit. Too much strict, you might cut the rope. We call it Sha'rat Muawiyah, radiallahu anhu. The hair of Muawiyah. How Muawiyah is like, when they're slack, you pull, when they're tight, you let go. That's how it is. So it depends. So if you have a very stubborn child who doesn't really care, if you're going to really be harsh on him, you want to leave the house. No, we don't want to leave the house. So I'll overlook some of these things that he does for the sake of the better. And later on we will know. So bit by it, you know, it's a skill. It's a skill. Now.
Regarding the one who goes to the kahin, he said that the salah is invalid, so he prays the salah.
Yeah, he has to pray salah. Meaning it's the kahin himself? Or the kahin is kahin. The person who does that, he has to do his prayer, but his prayer is invalid. He has to pray, but his prayer is invalid. Now. Father Yaqub.
Sheikh, you have to understand many things which is very scary. The hadith from Abu Hurairah, Allah has created man to commit sins. If he doesn't commit sin, he will remove him from the surface of the person created the good.
Yeah.
When we commit sins and ask for forgiveness and be forgiven. So where do we stand? Do we have to repent every day, all the time?
This hadith, just to make correct you, uncle, is from Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. That he was about to die and he gathered the companions and he said, "Verily, I've hidden a hadith from you all the way until now because he's dying. And I'm telling you this hadith, that is the Prophet ﷺ, I've heard him saying, by the one in whose hand is my soul." That means the Prophet ﷺ makes an oath by himself. By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who created him. By the one in whose hand is my soul. If you don't sin, Allah will take you away, or like Uncle said, remove you from the earth, will take you away, and then will bring other people who will sin, seek forgiveness, and Allah will forgive them. This hadith, why Abu Ayyub had kept it away? Because it might be misunderstood. You might think, oh, hang on a second, I'm not sinning, let me sin, because otherwise Allah will kill me and bring somebody else instead of me. It doesn't mean that. It means that the person is a human being. He's the son of Adam. Son of Adam, Adam had sinned, we will sin. So that means we are bound to sin. So never ever think that you're going to be sinless. There's no something sinless. There's no something person who is perfect. We can't be perfect as God. We are people who sin. That's what it means, the hadith. So that's why Allah did not remove us, because we are sinning. Allah created us to sin and to show us that there is no harm that the person had sinned and then later on he repented. So you're bound to sin. No matter how good you are, how righteous you are, you will sin. But it doesn't mean you have to sin. Oh, hang on a second, I haven't sinned this month, let me go and do a sin. It doesn't mean that. Hang on a second, this year I don't recall any evil. Let's do an evil in case Allah will remove it. It doesn't mean that. It means you're going to be bound, because the son of Adam, in times of weakness of Iman, you cannot do something which you're going to regret. Now the sin, of course, varies from one person to another. Some of them are really major, some of them are really small, some of them, they consider this a sin, while other people say, it's not a sin, it's a whole thing. Okay? So that's what it means, and the person needs to know that all these minor sins, you should never ever say that no problem, because they matter once they get together, and once the person intend to do them and persist to doing, they'll become into a major. Now, Musa? Horoscope? What's horoscope? Oh, you mean the newspaper? The zodiac sign? There's still zodiac in some of the newspaper until today. We are living in the 15th century, Islamically speaking. Still, people, I don't understand. Still there's people who been given salary to write these things, and people, idiots who read them. SubhanAllah. Allah Musta'an. When I was a kid, nobody directed me for this. I used to buy the newspaper for those things. I'm a kid, but I think that the ones who were around me also did not really were aware of this haram thing. Zodiac sign. This is to do with prediction of the future. And if you look at all of them, what do they write? It's something in general. And if you could apply it in anyone, to any person. So for example, it says that, oh, you had an incident in your life. Of course you had an incident in your life. And you're going to have something, blah, blah. And then you depend upon it, you're going to have something. And what really makes me laugh now, those people who get mentored to each other. From the question that the sister gives to the brother, what is your zodiac sign, please? So if she's Capricorn, and he's whatever she is, and the sign says all the time they are in conflict, brother can't marry you. Why? Because all the time zodiac sign says that we are opposite each other, we'll never understand one another. That's shirk. You think I'm laughing? Wallah, it happens. Wallah, well, it's not what type of blood have you got. No. What is a zodiac sign that you've got? And these Muslims are talking about. So people are now more educated, I think, inshallah, to believe that this is not really happening. It's a star. Believe in the star. Astrology. Call it astrology. And astrology is haram. Shirk and major shirk. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك